Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden. Today we are doing another part to a multi-part series that we got going on. It's going to be top 10 sports cars under a certain price range. Today is under $7,000. Next video is going to be under $6,000, and I'm sure you can guess the rest. Let me know if you guys like this kind of content. It seems like you do. You guys watch them the most, so I'll keep making them. But also 350Z is coming soon. Anyway guys, let's get into the list. Number 10 is the Volvo S60, coming with a 3-liter turbocharged inline 6 that made 325 horsepower, and it was all-wheel drive for your daily driving needs. Now, I know someone who owns one of these actually, and he says it's actually an extremely fun little sleeper car. You just wouldn't expect these cars to go fast. That's the only reason why people don't buy them, is because they're not very popular and not very known. I don't understand why, but they aren't. The aftermarket support isn't huge for them, and neither is the community because, like I just said, they're not the most popular. But when talking about parts, they're actually surprisingly pretty cheap due to Volvo kind of making a name for themselves right about now. Before, yeah, Volvo parts used to be really expensive. Nobody really owned a Volvo. Nowadays, I mean, it's becoming an affordable brand. Also, out of all the cars on this list, this one is actually the safest car. This car got an extremely good safety rating. So if you're worried about crashing, buy an S60. Number 9 is the Chevy Corvette C3. Now, before you get your panties in a bunch and start commenting down below, oh my god, Mark, there's no way you're finding a C3 for under 7K. Just give me a second, all right? Let me explain a little bit. The car had a 5.7-liter V8 that made 350 horsepower, and that's really good if you think about the time it was made. You got a very old, lightweight car that made 350 horsepower, and it was rear-wheel drive. Sign me up. But now the moment that you guys are all wondering right now, is this car actually able to find under $7,000? And the answer is simply yes. The way I look at it, older cars, if you're going to buy an older car, you're almost always going to need to fix something on it anyway. They're almost always going to be a project. These cars are found everywhere with a lot of rust on them or something wrong with the engine, and just a definite project car for under $7,000. And that's what I'm kind of going for with the C3. They are older cars, so not a lot of people have them, meaning that not a lot of companies want to make parts for them, and that's why they're so cheap, is because it's expensive to fix them. But if you actually do get it and you actually do fix it up, it's a great car for its price. Number 8 is the Mark 6 Jetta GLI, baby. That stands for Go Lick Insects, coming with a 2-liter turbocharged inline 4 that made 210 horsepower, and it was front wheel drive and an extremely good daily driver. If you're looking at this list simply to find a car that's good for daily driving and you couldn't care less about fun, the Jetta GLI is the perfect choice for you. Honestly, the fun part, it's actually there. If I were you and you're not looking for any fun whatsoever, just go with a base model Jetta. The GLI is the fun one. It has comfortability, huge aftermarket support, absolutely massive aftermarket support, and a huge community for it. Great gas mileage, and actually relatively cheap repairs. You may not think that that's true because it's a Volkswagen, but look it up. Jetta repairs are not that expensive since there's so many of them. Number 7 is a bit of another Chevy Corvette C3 scenario. It's the Datsun 280Z, and it pains me to put this low on the list, but there are reasons. It came with a 2.8-liter inline 6 that made 171 horsepower, and it was, of course, Nissan Z rear-wheel drive, and also a very old car. With that being said, this is a project car. For under $7,000, you can easily find one, but it will look like it tried saving Princess Fiona and failed miserably. I wish it got better from there, but unfortunately, since it's old, just like the Corvette, parts and labor aren't going to be cheap. But once you get it up and running, you'll be the talk of the town with one of these. I never see these where I'm from driving around. Also, I find this pretty cool since it had an inline 6, but all modern Z cars have a V6, so that's pretty cool to me. But whatever, I mean, that isn't something that's like make or break the car. Number 6 is the Audi A4 B8, coming with a 2-liter inline 4 making 211 horsepower, and it was all-wheel drive because Audi. Once again, this is a pretty damn good daily driver. One of the best daily drivers out there is the A4 Audis. The only downside that I can think of is being the cost of repairs. Audi is a German company, and it's more of a luxurious company than Volkswagen, so their parts are going to be a little bit more expensive. Yes, I know it isn't an S4, but with a couple of pretty inexpensive, to be honest, mods, just a couple bolts-ons and maybe a tune, you can easily get this car to S4 speeds, all while still having the Quattro all-wheel drive that the S4 had. This car is for the guy who really just wants to arrive in style, but if he has to beat some Volkswagen to establish European dominance, he can do that. Number 5, halfway through the list, and it's the Foxbody Ford Mustang GT, coming with a 4.9 liter V8 that made 140 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. If that sounds small to you, I promise these engines were capable of much more. Yes, I know on paper it doesn't sound like a lot. A V8, a 5 liter V8 pretty much, that makes only 140 horsepower, like what were they doing? I'll tell you what was going on. The oil crisis. They were screwed. They were making cars with very small horsepower to compensate for all the lost oil that they had. I don't understand though why they call it the 5.0 if it was actually a 4.9 liter engine, but who cares? I guess the car is just 6, so they don't really care at all. These cars seem to be good at one thing and one thing only. I'm sorry, Mustang guys, but let's be honest, the car is only good for going fast in a straight line. So if you want that in your life, pick up a Foxbody, bring it to Mexico Cash Days event, and win yourself like $30,000. Fourth place is the second generation Toyota MR2, coming with a 1.8 liter inline 4 that made 138 horsepower, and it was rear wheel drive and mid-engined, which made for a just god-awful combination for daily driving. But if you can get the car to handle the way you need it to, boy did it do freaking good. It handled amazing if you could control it, but that's the problem, is controlling. This is by far one of the best risk reward style cars out there, and the looks of it are just, oh my god, one of my favorite looking cars ever built. I've said it and I won't go back on it. The Toyota MR2 second generation just looks absolutely outstandingly good. Now you won't be able to find a turbo one for the price we have today, which is only $7 grand, but the naturally aspirated ones are found all the time for under $7,000 as long as you're patient, because they're not on there a lot. It's definitely, like I said, not a good daily driver, but for fun it checks off all the boxes. Third place is the most underrated Mazda ever built, the Mazda Miata NC, coming with a 2 liter inline 4 that made 166 horsepower, and it was of course rear wheel drive. And there's a reason why everyone loves the freaking Miata. It's so much fun for the price you spend. You can get so much, I don't want to say you can get so much car, because you don't really get a lot of car, but you get a lot of smiles for the amount of money that you spend. Admittedly, stock, yes, they are a bit underpowered, but that's if you want to go fast in a straight line. If you want that, buy the Mustang. If you're more of a canyon carver, or maybe even one of those friggin' daredevils that just fly in and out of traffic on highways, this car is absolutely perfect for you. It just handles so amazingly well. It has that 50-50 weight distribution, extremely lightweight. Yes, this is the ugliest generation of Miata, let's be honest, but it's still a Miata, and still it has such a massive community, a massive following for it. Aftermarket support is huge, and honestly, daily driving is even possible with one of these. Second place is the Infiniti G37 Sedan, coming with a 3.7 liter V6 that made 330 horsepower. And it is either all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive, so whichever one you prefer. That was weird. Obviously, if you want to go drifting, pick the rear-wheel drive one, but if you need a daily driver, go with the all-wheel drive one. Now, this absolutely hurts me because I really just wanted to put it first, but I just couldn't, since the other car is just a lot better in my personal opinion. With that being said, this car is still absolutely amazing. If you know me, you know that I love the Nissan and the Infiniti lineup. I just love every single one of them. Daily driving, it checks off all the boxes, and for modding / racing, it shared the exact same engine as the 370Z, so it was pretty damn good at that too. It also had 4 doors for all your friends, and all-wheel drive for if you live in a snowy area, making it a pretty damn good choice. But first place, this hurts me to say, but it's the Subaru WRX Hawkeye. That stands for We Rate Xylophones. I'm sorry, that's the only X word that I could think of. It came with a 2.5 liter turbocharged inline 4 that made 300 horsepower on the dot, and it was of course all-wheel drive since it's a Scooby. Now this car, it was kind of weird to put it number 1 for me, because personally where I'm from, everybody and their grandmother has a freaking WRX, so it makes me really not like them just since I see them all the time. They're not special to me anymore. But I can't sit here and argue that it's not a absolutely wonderful choice for a sports car for the price that you get. You get all the fun and sportiness of all these other sports cars on the list, but with the reliability and daily driving ability of good old Subaru, making it just a absolutely perfect choice. These cars can be modded also to become an absolute beast, and for relatively cheap. The community is absolutely massive for them. Their aftermarket support is absolutely massive for them. The things you can do in it is absolutely massive. As long as you don't be pushing so many extra little boosty boys than you need to, your head gaskets will be fine, okay? But yeah, the Subaru WRX is an absolutely wonderful choice. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of this list. I hope you guys enjoyed. I sure did. Let me know what your favorite car on the list was, or what other car should have made the list, because I have to do 6 grand next anyway. So I need some more ideas. I'm running out of cars here, guys. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so very much for watching. If you stayed this far, I'm going to give you a little update on the 350Z. I am so excited to get started on that and start doing that for the channel. But unfortunately, it's still not running and driving yet. I'm just waiting for parts to get here. It's taking so freaking long, but it should be done anytime soon. So, if you made it this far, you're probably a fan of the channel. So let me know what other videos you guys want to see, please. Because, like, after these top 10s are done, I don't know what else I'm going to be doing, man. You know? But anyway, guys, das vidanya. I love you. Have a great day.